Hey, good people YouTube. My name's Nathan, and today in this video, I'll be talking about why it's so hard for us as humans to trust God. Um, this will not be based on anything like the Bible or stuff like that. As a Christian, I do have and do read the Bible, but most of this is going to be based on my experience and about some of the challenges I have faced in my life and how I think that overall represents the rest of humanity and its struggles to depend and to be okay with trusting God. Um, let's start with the obvious one. Depending on somebody else for like survival or for, I guess, your needs isn't seen like very well in society, I won't lie. In any culture, you're kind of taught when you grow up to a certain age as an adult, you need to take care of yourself through a job, through some kind of skill, trade, profession. You need to provide that roof over your head. You need to provide food, everything, all your necessities are because of your work that you do. The idea of trusting God, a guy that no we can't see, like we can see his actions or stuff like that. As Christians, we believe that we can see him through his work, through the works we see on this world, right? So, for example, we see people who are cold hearted change into warm, compassionate people. We say, oh, God moved. We can see God moving in that person's life. But the idea of us depending on God for stuff like food, good seasons of like harvest, if you're a farmer, right? It removes the I can control stuff factor. We can control God. And so when in the moments when we need to trust God, and it's up to him, it's very hard for us to accept that because in those scenarios when we need to trust God the most, we have no control over the situation, right? I'll talk about this in my experience when I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, and they said you got to do the surgery. It's your last shot at sleeping normally at night without the mask, the sleep apnea machine. Do I have any control? Is there anything I can do to like increase the chance of survival in that surgery? No, I'm not the surgeon. All my hopes and dreams of the future rely on that surgeon's ability to precisely cut a hole, take out two tissues, seal it up, make sure there's no infection, and I had to put all my trust into him and to God. That God would somehow make it work, and that somehow I would be fine and I wouldn't need that sleeping machine to sleep. Dude, was I scared? Oh hell yeah, I was scared. I couldn't control it. I couldn't control the surgeon be like, yeah, you gotta make this precise cut. Keep in mind, I was like 10, 12 years old. I didn't know anything about that, but this terminology and stuff like that. But I had no control over the situation. A lot of times, as humans, we want to control everything. Our finances, is our team winning? We want to control everything, and we want to think that we have an influence whether or not the outcome would be good or bad. In certain things, yes. Sometimes our grades, they're determined by whether or not we studied enough. They're determined by do we put enough effort into our grades. But other times, it's not even our actions that can change anything. Maybe our professors are just that crazy. They just don't care about our grades. They just want to see us burn. And I'm not saying that because I've had professors. I just hear other people tell me like, our professors suck. or maybe you lost a loved one during this quarter semester, and the background noise is surrounding the loss of a loved one, and you're trying to do your best in studies, and you just can't focus. There's something happening. You get to the end of the quarter, end of the semester, you didn't pass the class. Is that necessarily your fault? No, I don't think so. There was something bigger happening that was affecting you that you couldn't control, you couldn't stop, and it was bigger than something you could handle. In those situations, we need God, but it's hard to allow God to work when we're kind of like pushing Him away at arm's length. We're like, stay away. I got this. I'm the man, right? For guys, we like to say, I'm the man. I got this. We don't need to call a plumber, right? We can fix it ourselves. But when we need God, we can't fix it ourselves. When it requires God's help, we've just got to trust Him. And I guess some steps that we can do that I've done in my life through the sleep apnea trial or through grades, something I've done is I've prayed every single day for that thing, specific thing, right? I've talked to other people and shared my concerns, my fears, my dreams. And I've told other people, hey, this might be it for me. And I told them the stakes of it. And you can also talk to God as well. Like, yeah, this is why I really need this. I'm not saying God's going to exactly do what you want, but He's going to respond in some way that addresses it. Maybe you won't like it. And a good example of it is I wanted to go on the varsity team. I got rejected like 2 times in high school, and I said no more. And I asked God in my senior year, hey, I want to join the varsity team. It wasn't basketball. It was badminton. I finally got on, but for badminton. We're not going to know how God's going to move us, how He's going to work in our lives, how He's going to help solve our current issues. But we know this. When we trust in Him, when we allow Him to work, when we step off the gas pedal and say, not literally, but figuratively, and maybe a little bit literally, we take their hands off the wheel and we let God take control. That's when we can see Him shine. That's when we can see Him work in our lives. That's when we can see the path He has set us on. And we can also see why the stuff He does is for our own good. It's never for our bad. So, and it's a little bit different. This video is about why we should trust God, how should we trust God, trusting God in general, the hardships, why is it hard for us as humans to trust God. But I feel like that's necessary as during this time right now, as this video is coming out, it's at the end of midterms and at the start of finals for some people. I can understand why it's hard to trust God with your grades, why it's hard to trust God with family pressures, your career choices. I totally understand that. So, I just want to say, it'll be okay. You just gotta trust God. Do your best. Trust God. Pray. You'll be alright. I know you'll be fine. I'm still here. After sleep apnea, after some bad grades, I'm still in school. Doing my best. Trying my best. Well, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching this video, and hope you all have a good day. Bye-bye.